The Garden Report is powered by Prize Picks, the exclusive daily fantasy partner of the CLNS Media Network.
Hey, Buddy Manning here, Noah Dalzell from Celtics Blog by my side, and we're here at the Celtics community event in Roxbury where Baylor Shireman, Anton Watson just did some drills with the kids, a lot of stuff on the court. We were at their practice, their second practice of Summer League camp earlier today. And we got the full roster that the Celtics are going to be going to Vegas with as well. Noah, this is the only time we're going to get to hear from these guys before we go out to Vegas, but definitely interesting to hear from Anton, talking about the kind of player he is, how he can fit in here, and a very cheery Baylor, still optimistic about what he's going to do here, talking to Jason Tatum before signing his contract. And looking up to players like Joe Ingles, which I think is a comparison that was made a lot. It was funny to hear Anton compare himself to Al Horford, too, after our conversation.
Yeah, definitely. They both seem like great guys, and super excited to be in Boston, which I think tends to be the case when you were drafted here. And I think Anton, too, being in that latter half of the second round, you don't know if you're going to get drafted, right? So for him to be able to hear his name, super cool, and to have join an organization that obviously I think from the jump is going to welcome him and embrace him, and he has, role models to follow. And I think this Summer League team in general is probably as stacked as it gets as far as having NBA players on it. Three guys that are fully NBA players, fully Celtics players, Jaden Springer, Neemias Queta, and Jordan Walsh. And then you have these two-ways, you have rookies. So I think they're going to be a fun group of players to follow in Vegas. Yeah, some interesting additions to the team as well. Drew Peterson added. He signed a two-way deal recently, so that makes more sense. J.D. Davison, who was in unrestricted free agency to start the day, signs another two-way deal, his third straight, to stay with the Celtics this season, which was expected. Brad Stevens said he wanted him around. He's been at the facility and staying in pretty close ties to the team despite them not extending him the qualifying offer. So he'll be part of the team moving forward as well. And I think this is a critical summer for him, for Drew Peterson, and of course Watson, who still hasn't signed a two-way deal yet either. There's some guys on this roster who can maybe push them a little bit, and we can get into them a little bit. But J.D. Davison, trying to hold on to that two-way spot, going to be crucial. Drew Peterson, I think, needs to prove himself with a strong summer. And Watson feels like he's a layup to get that third two-way spot, but he's got to show something too out here. And those are the guys that are going to be on the line with the new additions to the roster. Yeah, definitely. And I think J.D. Davison, it's pretty unusual to have 3 consecutive years of a two-way with one organization, but they continue to praise him and his work ethic and what he can bring to the table, despite the fact that I think, he hasn't really played NBA minutes. Even last year, it was very limited, the opportunities that he got in Boston, spent most of the year in Maine, and made a lot of progress, looked a lot better than he did the previous year. But he's definitely someone that we'll be watching in Summer League. I thought last year, Summer League, he had high hopes, high expectations, and then didn't have the best run. So, can he cut down on turnovers? Can he kind of show that he's a starting point guard in the Summer League, really comfortable, and maybe could serve as a backup point guard in the league one day, right? So I think this is a huge summer for him. Probably few players have as much pressure going into Summer League as far as being able to prove themselves and secure one of those spots. And then some guys that are just going to get really good runs and, already have their guaranteed money, their guaranteed spot on the team. But, you want to see them look really good. We haven't seen a ton of Jaden Springer, but how can he look? This is an opportunity for someone like that to show out.
Yeah, fun names too, additions to the roster. Ron Harper Jr., who I really liked at Rutgers, great college player. He spent some time with the Raptors 2 years ago, got injured, so he's been spending a long period of time rehabbing. But Austin Ainge said today they like how he's a big, strong backcourt player who can shoot threes, who can do some interesting stuff. He plays a lot bigger than he looks. And then Killian Tilly, a big man from Paris, who the Grizzlies really felt like they stole coming out of his draft a handful of years ago. He hasn't played in a couple of years either. So those are some names that had some hype going into the NBA, who haven't played in a while, who will be interesting to watch with this team. And there's always someone who surprises, right, from that lower portion of the roster. Tristan Enaruna as well, the undrafted signing out of the draft, who I know the team really likes. 5-year college player, like many that they've brought in here. And someone I think has a chance to make a run at one of those two-way spots if he has a strong showing here. Again, who's going to shoot well from three? That's a priority for all of these guys right now.
And I think the other thing is you don't want to overreact to Summer League, because we've seen plenty of great players get drafted and have a terrible Summer League and end up having great careers in the NBA. So, it's just a sample. It just gives you a perspective, and you don't want to put too much on it, especially shooting struggles, because you could maybe have a rough 2 weeks and then everyone's like, this guy can't shoot in the NBA, and then, end up having a really good shooting career. So I think it just gives you a little bit of a glimpse, and everyone's going to have their own storyline and kind of their own their own goals and objectives for this league, and I think they have a pretty exciting group. Sometimes you look at a roster and it's like, who are these guys? They have no real affiliation with the team. There's a lot of affiliations here that go pretty deep. We've talked about the continuity with the Celtics, but to even have the two ways be repeaters from last year is pretty cool.
And DJ McClay going to coach them. We heard from him earlier today. Austin Ainge said some interesting stuff about J.D. Davison's future. Of course, him signing that deal today. The big news of the day, along with the announcement of the roster. You can go check out the roster in full, as well as everyone who talked today, including Anton, Baylor, McClay, and Austin, all on the CLNS Media YouTube channel. And we'll continue to preview Summer League throughout the week on Celtics All Access, so subscribe over there as well. We're brought to you by Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS for 100% deposit match up to $100 over there right now. Still WNBA baseball going on as well. The Red Sox getting going. And if you want to go see some games at Fenway, go to the Game Time app where you can get $20 off your first purchase of tickets over there. Just use the code CLNS. Of course, terms apply. $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app with the code CLNS. She's Noah Dalzell. I'm Bobby Manning. We'll both be out in Vegas this weekend as Summer League gets going. Celtics Heat, the first game on the schedule, I believe around 6:30 Eastern on Saturday. So we'll get to see this team, this very interesting, fun team, in full for the first time then. And practice will continue throughout the week here. Again, CLNS Media, Celtics All Access for all that coverage, and we'll talk to you then.